Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. And then I post this video up to social media. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. I have gotten really good feedback from people using them. They are affordable. They do packages of 4. I think they're like $64, $65 a piece, something like that. So they're super affordable and it's easy to get onto. So thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, let's dive into all this stuff. So I have added some dates to my meet and greets. They are all available on chrisgodinez.com. So I've added York, Pennsylvania. So if you are in the York, Pennsylvania area, I will be doing a meet and greet there. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I've never been there. It looks really pretty from the pictures. So, and I'm probably going to be adding some more North Carolina dates as well. I know we have Charleston, but I'd like to add in some other dates as we make our way up the East Coast. So anyway, there is that. So if you want the dates for the meet and greets, those are on chrisgodinez.com. And I think you go to appearances and it should be there. So anyway, added York, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be adding other dates as we get a little closer. Have not booked the places yet, so don't freak out if you've bought tickets and I haven't told you where it is yet. I'm going to wait until I actually get the place, and then I'm going to send you and say, hey, here it is. See you then, kind of thing. So there it is. All right. Okay. Any current events? You know, I did not do my homework last night, so I'm not going to talk about current events today. Let's see. Anything else I need to cover while I'm thinking about it? If you guys have any topics you would like me to cover, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them. You can ask them here. You can ask them on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there is that. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic. So today's topic is about normalizing healing. So what happens when we leave an abusive relationship, whether that is a family relationship or a romantic relationship or a friendship or a boss or whatever, is we go through a lot of different stages and a lot of different things, and it feels abnormal to us, but it's not. It's normal. So I want to normalize all this so you guys don't feel like you're crazy, because you're not. So hold on just a second. I'm telling you, we had a wet winter and now all of the pollen is just going crazy and it's like, ugh. Anyway, so in the beginning, when we realize that we are in an abusive relationship or an abusive family, you're basically going to be going through the 5 stages, now 6 stages, they've decided, of grief. Okay. So it's kind of like, and it's not linear. I want to make sure that you guys understand this. This is why survivors balance between kind of denial and acceptance and bargaining and, you know, all of the different stages, because it's not linear. It's kind of like a squiggly line up, and eventually we get to where we need to go. So I wanted to talk about the 5 stages. So hold on half a second. All right. And so this is under David Kessler. He is a grief expert. He's worked with Kubler-Ross. So this 5 stages of grief, the 6th one is meaning, finding meaning, which is kind of involving Viktor Frankl. So that's interesting that it's kind of made a full circle. So 5 stages of grief, they're not linear. You're not going to have them in any particular order. And we're going to talk about why we go through grief as we're healing from one of these relationships, whether it's, you know, romantic or not. So when we realize that the people we love or the person we love is disordered and harmful and not on our side, we're going to have a whole bunch of cognitive dissonance. Okay. Your brain is going to feel like somebody put a Alka-Seltzer tablet in the middle of it and it's just pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh my God, no relief, just pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Because you're trying to deal with reality, information that's, you know, right here, cannot be, you know, changed. and what they've been telling us for how many years, right? All the gaslighting, all the lying, all the cheating, all the stealing, all the bad behavior, all the intermittent positive rewards. I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. And so now we're coming to the realization this is not normal. What the? Oh my God. And so it's coming to that. It's like acceptance, but sort of not, of this is not healthy. This is not normal. And our brains are fighting it because our inner child is like, no, 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 no. It has to be normal. They have to be on my side. They have to love me. And they don't. So we are facing that cognitive dissonance that makes you feel crazy. Let me just be clear about that. That cognitive dissonance makes you feel crazy because you're doing this whole, okay, here's reality, but here's all the information I have, and this information does not match that information, and then it has a battle. Essentially, it's kind of like clash in the middle of oh my god and holy crap, and there we go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to get through the cognitive dissonance. And that time period when we're going through the cognitive dissonance is scary for us for two reasons. One, we don't want to believe the reality of the situation because it's not fun. It's not nice. It's not, it's not soothing. It's not comforting. It's not anything. It's like, holy crap, these people are out to get me. What the hell? Or this person is not on my side. This person really truly wants me dead, or this family truly wants me to be the scapegoat, or this, whatever, this boss really wants me to be the thrown under the bus or whatever. And so we're having to deal with that cognitive dissonance, come to acceptance about that. And this is where the stages of grief kicks in. Denial. How many of us have done in the past or even currently while you're working through this stuff? Oh, they would never. Oh, no, they can't be that bad. That's denial, guys. And that's deadly. It's going to get you killed because yes, they would. And yes, they are. They are that bad and they absolutely would do that. So denial is, again, kind of protecting that inner child from all the cognitive dissonance and all the upset and everything else. Anger, I love it when my clients get to anger because then it's easier for them to access, the sadness and the guilt and the, whatever. And, do you see where I'm going with that? So anger is a part of it too, because when we really, really understand, we did not deserve that. You did not deserve that. You did not deserve the intermittent positive rewards. You did not deserve the lying, the cheating, the gaslighting, the stealing, the rewriting history, the making you feel crazy, calling you names, blah, blah, blah. You didn't deserve any of that. You didn't deserve it. And so when people finally allow themselves to get justifiably angry, it is beautiful because so many targets of abuse feel like they cannot get angry at their abuser for whatever reason. A lot of it is because of family of origin. So if it was mom or dad, you can't get mad at me. I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm God. You can't get mad at me. Well, yeah, you can actually. So once they give themselves permission, once you give yourselves permission to allow yourself to feel that righteous anger, it's okay. Get it out. You have a right to be mad at your abuser. So CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving, Pete Walker, Chapter 3. Work on the letters to the abuser. Allow yourself to call them every name in the book. Dear abuser, bleep the bleepity bleep bleep out of bleeping bleep you bleeping bleep bleep bleep. How dare you? How dare you? That's the part I want you to get to. How dare you? They had no right. They had no right. I don't care if they were your parent. I don't care if they were your lover. I don't care if they were your boss. Nobody has the right to disrespect you. Nobody. Nope, not allowed. Not putting up with it. So allow yourself, I just got goosebumps. Allow yourself to process through that anger. And I think that's the part a lot of people try to skip over is because they feel guilty. We're going to get to that. So remember, fear, obligation, guilt, that's part of their control. So if you're feeling guilty, you really need to take a look at why. Really? Do you have something to feel guilty about? You're mad at your abuser for abusing you? You have nothing to feel guilty about. Seriously, you need to help that inner child understand that that inner child has nothing to feel guilty about for getting angry at the abuser, but the child is going to feel guilty. So Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor, or Inner Child, Regaining the Inner Child by Lucia Cappuccioni. One of those two. So those are going to help you kind of work on that. Bargaining. I hear a lot of clients do that. Well, if I just fill in the blank, if I was just more understanding, if I was just more of a pretzel, if I was just, if I made myself smaller, you can't make yourself any smaller, honestly, because really the smallest they want you to get is to be dead. So you cannot make yourself healthy. Normal people don't want their partner to be small. They want their partner to be their partner and to be exuberant and happy and alive and dancing and full of joy and doing their thing. And, do you see where I'm going with that? Narcissists don't want that. Abusers don't want that. They want to make their target of abuse as small as possible because your joy, your love, your happiness, your exuberance just reminds them how dead they are inside, and it pisses them off. And so therefore they have to smush your light. How dare they? Again, I'm getting back to that righteous anger. How dare they? How dare they? How dare they smush a child's light? Nothing makes me angrier than when I'm listening to my clients and they're telling me how their abuser tried to kill them emotionally. It just, oh. And then I express that to them. It's like, I am angry on your behalf. That's not okay. What they did to you was not okay. And sometimes hearing that is enough to move that block to get people to go, oh my God, you're right. This isn't okay. I have the right to be angry. Yes, you do. Absolutely. So bargaining, I should have made myself smaller. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Okay. Mental mind. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's not good. You couldn't make yourself smaller. You could never make yourself small enough for them. Ever. Even dying is not going to make them happy because they are unpleasable. Okay. Okay. The next one is, so bargaining. Yeah, we go through that. Well, if I just done this, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. No. Don't should all over yourself. If you hear that, kick it to the curb. No, you couldn't. You shouldn't, and you wouldn't. Healthy people don't try to make themselves small for an abuser. So we have our own stuff to work on, okay? This is not victim blaming. This is just saying, okay, these are mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs that we need to change so that we stop hurting ourselves to try to heal this person. We cannot heal them. We cannot fix them. Why? Because we did not break them. It is beyond our power. I can't fix them. They are so irrevocably damaged. There is something missing. There is something wrong. I can't fix them. They don't want to be fixed. There's a very dangerous movement out. Somebody made me aware of it, and whoever you are, thank you, that on TikTok, every time I hear that word, and it's always wrong information, I'm just like, oh my God, stop listening to TikTok. That somebody out there is like, oh, poor narcissist. They're just misunderstood. They're just, no, show me the research that says that they change. Show it to me. Yeah, you can't. You know why? There's none out there. So they don't change. They don't stay changed. They may change for like a month as long as the court case is going on, but as soon as the eyes are off of them, they go right back to the behavior. In the history of never has a narcissist changed permanently. There it is. So if somebody on TikTok is telling you, oh, they can be fixed, oh, they can be changed, please, for the love of God and all that's holy, turn them off. They are lying to you. Don't know what their nefarious purpose is, but there's a nefarious purpose. So that is a dangerous thing. Listen to me now, believe me later. Narcissists, a straight narcissist. Okay, so the different types of narcissists. So the grandiose narcissist, pretty much puts it out there, tells you exactly what they're going to do. And people are always like, oh, they would never. Yeah, they would. Covert narcissists are the sneaky, poor me, I'm a victim. Why does, I'm going to go to the garden and eat worms. Nobody loves me. I do all of this for you. You don't do anything for me. Has to be the center of attention, though, but in a very kind of hypochondriac kind of way. So it's covert. It's not obvious. Okay. And then there's the communal narcissists, which are the cult leaders. Okay. So, yeah. So they are dangerous. I cannot stress that enough. And I told the person that, what do you think of this? I said, I think it's dangerous because I've been doing this since 2006. I have dealt with this for almost 20 years now. And when I deal with clients that have got stalkers, they are dark triads. So they're a psychopath, they're a narcissist, and they're a control freak. And they are dangerous. And they will, if they can, hurt you. That's their goal. I hate to break it to you, but that is their goal. They will harm pets. They will try to turn the children against you. They will do all sorts of hinky things. That is the nature of the beast. It's kind of like that Buddhist story of the frog and the scorpion. You know, the frog is on the side of the river and the scorpion asks to take a ride, and the frog goes, "Well, you're going to sting me. I'm not going to give you a ride." And the scorpion goes, "That's stupid. We would both die. Why would I do that?" And so then the scorpion climbs on. The frog goes, "Okay, yeah." The scorpion climbs on. They get out in the middle of the river, and lo and behold, the scorpion stings the frog. And as the frog is dying and falls into the river with the scorpion, he's like, "Why? Why did you do that?" And he's like, "Because it's in my nature." That's a narcissist. Narcissists are so ego driven and need to be right all the time that even if it takes them out, they'll take you out because they don't think they're going to die. They don't. So that's a whole other thing. So, okay, bargaining. If I made myself smaller, if I did this, if woulda, coulda, shoulda, no shitting all over yourself. No coulda, woulda, shoulda. That is your clue that is a mind bleep. Do you see where I'm going with that? Okay, depression. Of course, we are depressed when we have been abused. That is normal, guys. That can last for a long time, depending on how long the abuse has gone on, depending on family of origin, medical history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's clinical depression and there is situational depression. Clinical depression is where the brain simply is unable to produce the right amount of the feel-good chemicals, okay? So we're just unable to be happy. We're unable to get out of bed. We're unable to, do our normal lives. If we've especially had severe abuse where family of origin was abusive in every way, shape, or form, and we've been living with depression our entire lives, it's not surprising to have clinical depression, okay? Basically, get to a good psychiatrist, get on some mood stabilizers. That's the best thing you can do, and start working on the things around it. So, for example, self-esteem. So if the abusing family was just relentlessly hypercritical, it's not unusual to come out of that and have that inner critic that's just brutal and mean and vicious and, just never shuts the hell up. So we've got to start working on, thank you for your input. Shut the hell up. Why? Because I am the boss, not you, you little, yeah. I get to say what I say to myself, not you. And then you replace it with the polar opposite. I am smart. I am good. I am a nice person. I am not my abuser. I am not my mom. I am not my dad. I am me. And I have the right to be happy. God damn it. So that is that. Depression is normal. At some points, now realize this is not linear. This does not happen in this particular order. And we bounce back and through it over and over and over again until we finally kind of get through to the other side. And you can have moments of acceptance and then bounce right back into denial. That's totally normal. So acceptance is where you finally go, okay, it is what it is. This is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to have to move on. So that's acceptance. So, but the thing of it is that we will bounce between depression and bargaining and anger and denial and acceptance until we're finally working it through and finally getting it that it's not us, it's them. So the sixth one that David Kessler proposes is finding meaning in all of this, which I totally agree with because I'm a huge fan of Viktor Frankl. So basically, when Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camps, he had to find meaning in meaninglessness, in this horrific trauma of unnecessary death and destruction and murder and genocide and all of this. So he had to find meaning or he was going to lose his damn mind. So that's kind of the next step, is finding meaning in all of this. This is why I'm always saying, okay, what have you learned? What can you do differently next time? So it's something that's normal that a lot of clients do is, how could I have been so stupid? How could I? And they start judging themselves. I'm like, stop. Listen, kiddo, it's not like, and I wish they would, it's not like they teach this even in the master's programs. They wouldn't touch domestic violence with a 30,000-foot pole. And I'm sitting here thinking in my head, I'm like, well, it happens and we are all therapists. So I know we're going to have to deal with it. So why aren't you teaching it? Well, it's because it deals with personality disorders and half of the APA wanted to get rid of personality disorders. Oh my God. Anyway, so they didn't even touch it. So everything that I have learned, I have had to go learn on my own. It's annoying. So they don't teach it in school. They don't talk about domestic violence. They don't. They don't teach it in high school. They don't teach it in college. They don't. They should. So when we come out of it, we blame ourselves. That is a very childlike thing to do because children are very, and when I say this, it's not egocentric like a narcissist. It's egocentric like a magic thinking, like little kids. Like, oh, I thought something mean about grandpa and then he had a heart attack and it's my fault. No, 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 sweetheart. No, no, no. Grandpa ate bad things his entire life and he had a heart attack because of his terrible diet. Do you see where I'm going with that? So we somehow blame ourselves. And you add in the codependency. So 2 books for that. The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, or Facing Codependency by Pia Mellody. Okay, those are 2 both really good books on codependency. So we blame ourselves because it's safer in bunny ears that way than to blame the abuser. No, 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 no. You get to put it back on the abuser. Put it back on it. Ain't yours. Don't carry that baggage. That luggage does not have your name tag on it. Don't put it back on the carousel. It's not yours. So we have a tendency to blame ourselves. That's a normal part of healing because that's part of the codependency. So it's like, okay, we've got the narcissistic abuse. We've got the low self-esteem that we have to deal with. We've got the magic thinking, the inner child stuff that's going on. We've got the codependency that's going on. So all of this is normal. So then we start blaming ourselves. No, 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 please don't. Please, no, no, no. Listen, psychopaths and narcissists, although not so much the grandiose ones, but if the narcissist has got the psychopathic tendencies, okay, they can be charming. Oh my God, charming. Like charming. And a lot of therapists, if they're not trained to look for it, fall for it. And they get charmed by the abuser and they start siding with the abuser, which is why I'm saying don't ever go to couples counseling with an abuser. Never. It's dangerous. And one thing that I've heard people say, and I have to disabuse them of that, well, but I want to feel like I've done everything I can. Okay, I understand that. But what you need to understand is that not every couples counselor is clued into charming narcissists, and those counselors do an immense amount of damage to the survivors of the abuse. You don't want to go to couples counseling with a narcissist. If they are unwilling to work on themselves and they are unwilling to change the behaviors, when you've asked them, going to couples counseling isn't going to force them to change. What they're looking for is a therapist that's going to agree with them that you're the bad guy. That's what they're looking for. And they won't change. Please see the beginning of my rant where I said in the history of ever. So couples counseling is dangerous. And I know you think you want to do everything you can. No, don't do it. If they have done behaviors, name calling, cheating, stealing, rewriting history, gaslighting, et cetera, don't go to couples counseling with them. What they're going to do is they're going to gather evidence and then spew it back at you later. That's what they use couples counseling for. It is a fact-finding mission for them so that they can control and manipulate you at a later date. Don't do it. So, okay, we blame ourselves. Don't blame yourselves. You could not have known. Because remember, in the beginning of the relationship, love bomb, love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. They tell us everything we want to hear. And it sounds beautiful. It sounds pretty. It sounds awesome. It sounds like, oh my God, I met my soulmate. This is awesome. No, they've read us. They know what we're looking for. And that's also why they pump for information so that we tell them our family history so that they can go, oh, this is what she's looking for, or this is what he's looking for. And then they hand it to us on a silver platter and we go, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, and then of course the devalue and discard starts, and then the cognitive dissonance starts, and then we start blaming ourselves. No, guys, no. Seriously, nobody could have prepared you for this. I mean, now we can, because now we understand all of this stuff, but nobody taught it. Nobody's teaching it as far as I know, except on the internet. So it's really important to give yourself some slack. You couldn't know what you didn't know. Okay. And like I said, even some therapists are fooled by them because they're that good. Yeah. They're charming psychopaths. Charming. Okay. They're cray. So, it wasn't taught. People don't talk about it. I mean, this country has a hard enough time talking about normal sexual relations and relationships as opposed to, dealing with a narcissist. Nobody talks about it. It should be talked about. The more conversation, not less. More conversation, not less. I encourage parents to warn their children, if anyone treats you like this, run, do not walk to the nearest exit. I encourage parents to work on the self-esteem so that child has got really good self-esteem so that when somebody starts disrespecting or devaluing them, they can be like, yeah, go pound sand and walk away. Because we don't talk enough about relationships, and we need to. So parents need to be involved in their kids' lives, and they need to teach them, look, this is what's out there. This is what you need to watch out for. Statistically, 35 to 45% of the population is disordered. And you want to know why it's so underreported in the books? The books say, oh, it's 9%. And I'm calling bull because it doesn't get reported. Narcissists don't go to therapy unless they are court ordered or unless their spouse has forced them into couples counseling and that couples therapist is willing to say, hey, this person is disordered. Do you see where I'm going with that? That's why you've got the low thing. So this country has got about 35%, I would say, of disordered people. So they're out there and you need to be aware of it and you need to teach your kids about it. So anyway, the other part of healing, because I want to make sure and cover all of this, the other part is as we start healing, we recognize we've been dissociating. That is a normal part of healing. And it's a normal part of having gone through trauma. So I want to normalize that because it makes me so angry when people who dissociate get kind of stigmatized. And I'm just kind of like, wait, they've been through trauma. Bibbidi bobbidi, back the bleep up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trauma, a little kid and some adults can't cope with it. When the brain cannot cope, when it's too much, when it's just too effing much, right? The brain literally goes, boop, kicks out the information, dissociates, sees it from the corner of the room, forgets it, dissociative amnesia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As we become safer, though, and I had this conversation earlier this week, as we become safer, we start remembering things, and that's normal. And we start realizing how much we have dissociated in our past. And that's okay, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. I want to be very clear. All it means is that your survival mechanism kicked in and it saved your ass. Good job. Thank God. Because some people go completely off the rails with this stuff. So it saved you. So thank it. Thank you. Thank you. Dissociation. It helped me. It saved me. I don't need to do that anymore. I'd like to stay in the present moment. Thank you very much and deal with stuff as it happens. But in the past, thank you. So that's all normal. That is all normal. That is totally normal. Absolutely. Multiple personalities dealing with trauma. That too. With that level of trauma, you betcha that's normal. It was a survival mechanism. Thank yourself. Thank your brain. Thank you for keeping you alive and keeping you safe and helping you find a way to cope with something that was absolutely so traumatic. I mean, and never should have happened. I just, don't get me started about abusers. I don't like them. So anyway, this is all normal, guys. This is all normal. We're also, as we leave the relationship and as we start healing, as we start working on the self-esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi and the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker and the Inner Child workbook by either Catherine Taylor or Lucia Cappuccioni, and the codependency either by Pia Melody or Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. As we start working on all of that, okay, we're going to have dreams about the abuser. Why? Well, think of it this way. When we leave an abuser, they have literally got us addicted to the times when they are good. So the intermittent positive rewards is 100% intentional. 100% intentional. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It is intentional. This is the same thing they use in prisoner of war concentration camps to make the prisoners more pliable. Sometimes the guards are nice, sometimes they're mean. Nice, mean, nice, mean, nice, 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 mean, mean, mean. And so we get addicted to those times when they're kind or normal or somewhat the person that they were when they were love bombing. Okay. So it's an addiction. It is. We get addicted to the oxytocins. Okay. And they do that on purpose in the beginning of the relationship, sex immediately and a lot because they want to get you hooked. Okay. When they do the stonewalling and leave, we then produce oxytocins like crazy and we start going through withdrawals. Seriously. It's intentional. They know it. Maybe not on a scientific level, but they know it works. So they do it. And so we start producing oxytocin like crazy, and then we start going through withdrawals and we crave them. Also totally normal when we figure it out and we go, holy cow. So then when we leave the relationship, we will have dreams about them. It is called a drug dream, essentially. So when I was working with the homeless in the homeless shelter, the guys and gals were always like, oh my God, I woke up this morning and I thought I blew my sobriety. And I'm like, totally normal, guys. Your brain is just sitting there going, where is this person? Where is this thing that was so important to me? And my whole life was about this person. In our case, it's the person. With them, it was the thing or the drug or the alcohol. This person was this person was my everything, and it was my world, and it was so important to me. And now they're gone, and now I'm dreaming about them. That's totally normal. That's your brain trying to figure everything out. Really, seriously, that's your subconscious just kind of going, excuse me, this person used to be here, and we used to worry about them all the time and think about them all the time, and where'd they go? you know? And so then that loops back into the grieving process, because then at some point we realize we don't miss them. We miss the illusion. We miss the illusion of who we thought they were. And the grieving process kind of is ongoing until we process it all through. So all of this is 110% normal. So with the dreams, and oftentimes I'll have people, just like my little drug addicts at the homeless shelter, they would be like, oh, well, maybe I should go use. No, don't you dare. And then we'll talk it out. And, we talk about the craving and the wanting to see the drug and feel the drug and all of that. And then we talk about the aftermath of what it did to them and how they ended up here. And by the time we're done, they're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. So when you have dreams about the ex or a family member, I used to have dreams about my dad a lot. Scary. It doesn't mean you want to see them. It doesn't mean you need to be with them. It doesn't mean anything other than your brain is trying to figure out why they're not here and or the abuse. I vividly remember having a dream when I had started therapy where I had all of my family members sitting in a circle and I had tied them and gagged them, and I was able to tell each one of them what I thought. And that was my subconscious kind of taking my power back. It didn't mean I wanted to see my dad. It just meant I needed to get this out. And so I wrote an angry letter, write and burn, write and burn, write and burn, write and burn. It does help. It really does help. So, okay. Then the loneliness. Okay. We feel lonely when we leave the relationship, and that is normal as well until, caveat, we get a strong, solid foundation of self-esteem going, because we've always looked outside of ourselves to feel okay. So that's codependency. So codependency is where you lean on somebody like this, but if they go away, you go kathunk. Worse is when the two people are doing this, and if anything happens, kathunk. Do you see where I'm going with that? So you want to work on your self-esteem. Now, the biggest mistake I see people make is they get out of one relationship and dive immediately into another abusive relationship because they couldn't stand the scariness of the lonely phase. So the lonely phase is the perfect opportunity for you to get back into relationship with yourself. 100%. Enjoy that time. Figure out what you like. Figure out who you are. Figure out what you want. Okay? That is hugely important because our abusers have pretty much taken that away from us. And, made us believe that we couldn't do it without them and that we're worthless and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So the lonely period where you feel lonely, get back in touch with you. That's the time to work on the inner child. That's mostly your inner child being afraid of abandonment, being afraid of alone, being afraid of the internal critic, which is just a little, don't get me started. Work on smacking that bad boy down, replacing with the positive, comforting your inner child, reparenting. This is the time to reparent. So this is all normal. So when you're feeling that lonely phase, this is the time to really step up to the plate, grab the bat, go to the plate, and become that parent you wanted and needed that you did not get. Like, I want you to practice being that parent. kind, comforting, loving, offering security, protecting them. Like, seriously, like when you're doing the mirror work, hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to like yourself. I give you permission to work on self-esteem. And guess what, little one? I will break my foot off in anybody's ass that tries to hurt you. I'm the mama now, or I'm the dad now, or I'm whatever. So you reassure that kid. You absolutely, I did. I would talk to my inner child like that. Absolutely. You reassure that little one that you've got them. You've got their six. Ain't nobody going to mess with them. Does that make sense? Because they didn't have anybody on their side when they were growing up, or when they were with the abusive romantic partner or a boss or whatever. Nobody protected them. Nobody came forward to say, hey, this person is wrong. So you want to start working on the inner child. So that lonely phase is normal. However, that is not a cue from the universe. You need to get on to Plenty of Fish or swiping left or right. I never understood that. But anyway, the point being is, now is not the time to go online, because first of all, online is filled with predators. Don't get me started. Now is the time to work on yourself, to really develop who you are, what you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you like to eat for dinner? Because I've literally had people that were abused to the point where they couldn't tell me what they liked for dinner or food or what their favorite color was, because they were always told by their abuser what to like and what not to like, because everybody had to think the same way the abuser did. So coming out of an abusive relationship, we are confused. That's a good way to put it. We don't know who we are, what we want, really, because if we had the kind of controlling parent or partner or boss or whatever, we start losing little bits and pieces of ourselves, and we start denying who we really are. So it's really important to start taking you back from all of these jackwagons. It's like, oh yeah, I used to like mac and cheese. Okay, great. Go make yourself some mac and cheese. Let's see if you still like it or not. I used to like playing softball. Great. Go join a softball league. Let's see if you like it or not still. Go do the things you used to do that brought you joy. Hugely important. When we leave a relationship, we often feel, well, because we're kind of in that numb, shocked phase. Shock, I don't know if they had shock in there with the stages of grief, but shock is definitely one of them. It's kind of like that, what the hell just happened feeling. And you feel numb, and you feel like you can't laugh anymore, like it's not okay somehow. Like if you just make yourself miserable enough, they'll come back. But the reality of it is, even if they came back, you wouldn't want them. And second of all, there's nothing that would make them happy. Even your demise will not make them happy. So we somehow kind of continue on almost that self-imposed smallness, and you don't want to do that. So you got to break that, oh, I shouldn't laugh, or, oh, I shouldn't be happy, or, oh, I shouldn't, whatever. Yeah, you should laugh and you should be happy. And I encourage it. So pay attention to how you make yourself wrong for moving on. That's another common thing that happens with healing. So it's kind of a notice it. Okay, I hear it. I see it. Guess what, Mother Clucker? I get to laugh. I get to have fun. I get to enjoy humor. I get to, whatever. And then just little baby steps move forward. So yeah, it's really, and I read something the other day that was like, if the relationship ended badly, absolutely do not ever consider taking them back. Good, healthy people do not end relationships on a bad note. They don't name call. They don't lie. They don't cheat. They don't rewrite history. They don't accuse you of things that you have not done. They don't try to hurt your self-esteem. Do you see where I'm going with that? So if they ended it in a rage, then no, be done. They've shown you who they are. They will not change. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you the Brooklyn Bridge. So stop listening to TikTok. Okay, so I think that is that. Let me get to the questions. Okay. Now I need glasses. What did I don't know what I did with my glasses. Let me just make that incredibly large so I could read it. Okay. What would a narc do if they eventually succeed in killing their child? I saw once a mother hurt the child So bad it died, and she tried to accuse someone else of it, but it was not believed. Oh yeah, they'll deny what they've done. Oh, I never did that. That never happened. What would they do? Well, they'll try to play the victim usually and try to get out of any responsibility for having harmed the child. Absolutely. You know, my dad used to play chicken with us in the car and then totally denied it. We'd tell mom, "Oh, I never did that." And she freaking believed him. And I'm just like, "Oh my God." So yeah, they enjoy it secretly. If especially if they're a psychopath and they've killed a child, holy crap. They enjoy it. They're sadists. And while they may not publicly revel in it, privately they're goody goody. Look how powerful I am. Look what I got away with. Look at, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that is exactly what they do. How do I pick a good therapist? How do I know I have the right one? Okay. So, a good therapist, first of all, you're going to interview them. You're going to interview them like crazy. Like, where did you get your license? How long have you been practicing? What is your specialty? Do you understand high conflict divorces? Do you understand narcissistic abuse? Okay. And a lot of the problem of it is a lot of them will lie and say, "Oh, yes, of course I understand," because they want the clients. So, one way to look is word of mouth. Seriously, word of mouth. Look for people, ask people in support groups. They'll have therapists and they'll tell you who they like and who they don't like. So, word of mouth is always the best way to go. But you do want to interview them. You want to make sure that you guys get along. So, for example, it's like I'll do like a 15-minute consult just to make sure that we're both on the same page and it's somebody I can help, because occasionally I will get people that are severely mentally ill and I need to refer them to a psychiatrist. So, it's making sure that we're on the same page and that they understand how I do therapy. So you want to ask about their modality. What is their modality? Are they DBT? Are they CBT? Are they EFT? There's a whole bunch of different modalities out there. So, read up on the different modalities, figure out which one you think would work with you. Now, for trauma, I would say CBT is really good. CPT is really good. Cognitive processing therapy, that's a little different than CBT. Because CBT is more like cognitive behavioral therapy and working on mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. EFT is good. EMDR in conjunction with talk therapy is really good. You want to hit on the trauma. You want to make sure you get a good trauma therapist, one that really is not afraid to talk about the trauma. I can't tell you the number of clients I've had that come to me and say, "Oh my God, my therapist never even addressed the trauma, even when I wanted to talk about it." That's a bad therapist. You go where the client wants to go. I mean, I literally have heard it all. You know, Nothing unfortunately shocks me very much anymore. Does it make me angry sometimes? You betcha. But does it shock me? Unfortunately, no. But therapists that have not done their own therapy, number one, have not really done the work as far as trauma therapy, they get uncomfortable talking about situations, incest, rape, trauma. Those are all trauma, but like emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're unwilling to go there. You got to go there. You got to go there. If your client is needing to talk about it, for the love of God and all that's holy, go there. That's the only way they're going to heal. You can't just sweep stuff under the rug and go, "Oh, it doesn't exist," because it's going to come out sideways and it's you do not want. So yeah, the therapist has got to be willing to go. So trust your gut. It's kind of like if you pick a therapist and you get into the session with them and you go, "Okay, here's what I want to work on." And this is what I ask clients when they call me. It's like, "Okay, well, what specifically do you want out of therapy?" So I know kind of what direction to go into. And a lot of times, because I work with domestic violence survivors, a lot of times they're like, "Well, I need to work on the trauma. I need to work on self-esteem." They already know kind of what they need to work on. And or they're like, "Well, I'm not really sure." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's just kind of talk and like kind of figure out, where you, because really this is a you driven thing. It is not the therapist driving, and it shouldn't be the therapist driving the show. It should be the client kind of going, "This is what I'd like to work on. This is what I'd like to do." So make sure that you've got a therapist that listens to you, like really, and guides you. So we're kind of like, how do I explain it? A good therapist is a guide on a whitewater rafting event. Okay, because trauma is kind of like whitewater rafting back. kind of telling you where the rocks are, where the logs are, where the submerged things are, where the, okay, this is how you guide your way through this. But the person in front is the one doing the paddling. Do you see where I'm going? I mean, they're just kind of yelling out, okay, watch for this. Okay, what's over there? Let's look at this. Oh, there's something submerged. What is that? Kind of thing. They're not telling you what to do. They're guiding you kind of things through the trauma and helping you process it. It is a journey. So you want a therapist that is a good trauma therapist that is not afraid to hit the hard, scary stuff on head on. And oftentimes when I hear that a therapist is unwilling to go there, it makes me question. It's like, did you do your own therapy? Did you work on your own trauma? Did you deal with this? Because oftentimes they haven't, and it makes them uncomfortable. It doesn't make me uncomfortable, and sometimes I can tell when people are like, well, let's see if I can get under her skin. And I'm just like, kid, I'm 59. I've heard it all, so yeah. So you just want to interview them, maybe do one session with them to see if you click. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it's off. If you don't like them, get a different therapist. There's nothing wrong with that. The therapeutic relationship is hugely important. You have to trust your therapist, and your therapist has to be trustworthy on the flip side of that, because you're sharing all of these deep, intimate, scary events that you have maybe been stigmatized for or made fun of, or, you're afraid to talk about, or whatever. And that's why it's really important to make sure that your therapist is empathic, kind, listens well, goes where you need to go, has got the training to help you, because how many of us have gotten stuck, right? Get stuck in our story, or we get stuck in the fear, or we get stuck in the anger, or whatever, and they're able to break that logjam and get you going on your way. That's what you want. So listen to who other people use. Word of mouth is always a great way to find one. You want to interview them. Do they really know about trauma? What is their training? Who have they trained under? Who do they listen to? Who do they read? What have they, that kind of thing. So, and trust your gut. Really, honest to God, trust your gut. That is the biggest thing that's going to help you. So, and if therapy seems to be going off the rails, talk to the therapist. So that's the thing. It's like, if something happens in therapy you don't like, bring it up to the therapist so that it can be corrected. And if the therapist does not correct it, get rid of them. So yeah, so there's that. All right. Okay. So next week, I want to talk. Somebody asked me if I could talk about financial success, how to do finances and things like that. I'm going to touch on that really briefly, and career success. So I want to talk about preparing ourselves for success. Okay. Because that's a big thing, is that we're kind of scared of being successful. So I want to talk about things that we can do to prepare ourselves for success, and how not to self-sabotage, either financially or emotionally, or, in the business world, or whatever we're doing. So we're going to talk about preparing for success. And that also means preparing for success in a healthy relationship. Oh my God. So yes, that may happen. That is very cool. When you get through the lonely period and you've worked on yourself and you've got a good sense of self-esteem and you are ready. Oh my gosh, we need to talk about success in relationships. So we're going to talk about the whole thing. Preparing for success is going to be next week's topic. All right, my love, loves, plural. Go have a great week. Drink plenty of water. It's getting hot here in Phoenix again. We just skipped straight over spring and went right into summer. It's going to be 83 today. What the hell? Anyway, so you guys go have a great week. I will post the videos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Anything I missed last week, I will do this week. And anything I missed now, I will also do this week. So there may be more than 3. I'm not sure. So, all right. You guys be good, and I'll talk to you. Where is my cursor? There it is. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.